Hi, I'm Marisa, and I share relatable stories surrounding topics on mental health, wellness, and finding joy in life. Welcome back, or welcome if you're new. Thank you so much for tuning in today. In today's video, I wanted to cover my mental health healing journey and how that kind of got started. I've worked at Ulta on and off since 2006, and then have been permanently employed, like a full time employee there since 2013. And I've worked in various roles since then, from stores and into corporate. And ever since starting my career in retail, I have been on a journey of personal growth and self discovery and trying to figure out, where I belong in this world. Before my time with Ulta, I was at that point in my life. I was struggling to find out who I was and what I wanted, and mentally, like, that was a really big struggle for me. I was insecure in my body and in my mind. I was insecure in my friendship circles, and I was too scared to create my own opinions, let alone voice them even. My aunt gave me a gift card when I was in high school, and that made me go into the store for the first time. And I don't know if I was aware of Ulta before that or not, but once I was in, I was an instant fan. I was initially exposed to beauty while working at Walgreens because I worked at the cosmetics department there. But setting foot into Ulta was a whole new world for me at that age, which felt like the perfect getaway since I was starting to feel so detached at home at that time. So I was extremely excited to start learning about the different beauty products and how they worked. And that's what initially actually resonated with me when I walked into Ulta. It was the array of beauty products that they had offered, or that they offer still to this day. They were products I was already really familiar with because I worked at Walgreens, and then a mixture of the high end or prestige makeup and skincare as well. So, as a college student, that meant I could go in and get my Maybelline Dream Mousse and like a high end fragrance or something all in one store. It was like perfect for me. And then, besides the products, in the specific store that I worked at, or that was local to me, store 17, it was really the people that drew me in. The women and the girls that worked there in that store in 2005, 2006. They were so kind when I was a customer. And so making the choice to apply there to work was easy because I just already felt so included that I felt like I belonged. So then I went ahead and I applied for a job there while I was at community college. I was working at the Walgreens pharmacy at the time, which was a promotion because prior to that I was working in the Walgreens cosmetics department. But then going into work at Walgreens left me with like a physical lump in my throat every time I had to go into work. Driving into work, I felt the anxiety and I just felt knots all over my body because I didn't want to go in. The patients in the pharmacy were not very kind, and I was only 19 or 20, so I was not very thick-skinned. I took a lot of things personally, even when they were out of my control, or when I didn't have anything to do with the issue that was at hand. I was somehow feeling very at fault, I felt awful. And I don't know exactly how the transition happened or what exactly transpired, but I must have been shopping at Ulta one evening or something and asked if they were hiring. And then I was given a paper application. I filled it out, and the rest is history. And then I talked about this in my last video, but I'm not proud of ghosting Walgreens. The right thing to do would have been to formally resign or to, call or write a letter or something. But I was just so unhappy there and so happy to have been accepted at Ulta that my emotionally unintelligent self just decided to do what felt right at the time. And, that was for me to just leave Walgreens without notice. So in the end, it did turn out to be the best decision that I made. But, at the time, obviously, it was really wrong. So throughout the next few years, I experienced different types of loss that I was able to overcome through my work and the relationships that I'd made through my work. And it's also been a place of learning and self discovery. And I was able to identify when I needed help. And because of my job, I also had the resources to get help when I needed it. So there's so many silver linings that I was able to discover once I really gave it some thought, as to why, like, at the time doing something like that felt wrong, like leaving a place, whatever, but I give myself grace for what I've done in the past. Let's just put it that way. So when I first started working at Ulta, I didn't have a lot of confidence at all. If I did seem confident, it was because I was masking or mimicking behaviors that I thought exuded confidence. Or to put it in a simpler way, I was fake confident, I guess. I was faking it. I was smiling and happy, or, smiling and pretending to be happy on the outside, but, inside, I was not doing so great. But despite all that, building my external confidence did become easier because I had so many beautiful people and products at my disposal and to learn from. And that was wonderful. I loved it. Finding the right skincare and makeup products also kind of gave me a nice focus because it helped me just feel better about my appearance. And because I was surrounded by women of different age groups and backgrounds, races, and personalities, I, picked up traits and phrases and mannerisms from everyone that just helped me build my confidence and helped me kind of be who I thought I needed to be or had to be. And so also now that I'm reflecting on this experience, I'm realizing the routine that I had there also provided a sense of stability in my life. I knew what to expect each shift depending on like who I was working with or when I was working. I knew the people I'd be with, and I loved helping customers, so that was always obviously number one for me. I enjoyed my personal routine to get ready for work, and I was just genuinely excited to go into work and go in with a positive attitude. I just really loved it. And so, even though my confidence building started as a masking mechanism, as I got more comfortable in my work, my true confidence did start growing a little bit more too. It started to. I feel like that's what maybe like planted the seed to build my confidence. So then when I think back to the various roles that I've had over the years, in the store and at the corporate level, what I can tell you is that it's not the actual job description or the job itself that stands out to me or that made me stay in stores or that made me even decide to stay for as long as I have. It's always been the people that I've worked with that kept me there. I remember at store level, we spent many hours in my younger years complaining, judging, snarking, and just simply not understanding how anything truly works because I was just so stuck in this one frame of mind that I was in. So while I was exuding all this fake confidence on the outside, I was super unhappy on the inside. I was not always kind or happy or confident with myself, and my heart was leaning very negative towards myself and therefore at other people and how I saw the world. I saw the world in a really negative and bad light at that time in my life. Honestly, I was afraid of the world around me. On the outside, I was pretending again, like I said, but on the inside, I was just hurting, thinking negative about myself and everyone and everything. And it was just exhausting, honestly. It's not a good place to be when your inside and your outside don't match. It's awful. So it's, no surprise that later I would have burnout because of it, mental burnout. So there were a few specific moments in my life that were turning points and that I was able to navigate while having Ulta as a backdrop, either while I was working there part time in stores or full time in stores also because I worked, like I said, I worked various roles, and there were times where I worked other jobs at a full time basis, like a 9 to 5, and then I would work at Ulta in the evenings or on the weekends. And then there were times where Ulta and my in-store experience turned into a full-time career where I was a manager or doing other work like that. So some of the specific moments that I remember were friendship breakups or loss of friends groups, going away to college, trying to make friends while I was away at college. My dad passed away. Then I tried to, navigate the relationship with my mom after losing my dad. The Great Recession when I graduated from college, working 2 or 3 jobs to make ends meet, with Ulta usually as one of them. Moving in with a boyfriend for the first time and then getting married, getting our first dog, discovering fitness. A lot of significant moments happened when I worked in stores. Then in 2015, I transferred to the corporate office for a role that at the time I felt like it was made for me. It encompassed parts of my college major and work experiences that I had since then, while also using my Ulta background experience as like a foundational stepping stone. A few other coworkers from the stores also transferred simultaneously, and things just started changing. Some friends were getting let go, others were leaving on their own, and then others were still trying to figure out like where they were fitting in within Ulta or without. Meanwhile, corporate to me felt like a completely different world. I was, in my late 20s, a bubbly young woman, excited about everything and who loved being active and talking with others about their beauty routines and their day or just whatever people wanted to talk about. I was all up into it. I was just a chatterbug. I love talking with people. Working in stores, I was able to get those needs met. I was working, talking, getting work done, and multitasking all day long, and it filled my cup so much. And then I went to transitioning to an office role where it was the exact opposite. I sat at a desk for majority of the time. Most people were just quietly sitting. I mean, we had some conversations. We were able to talk and joke around and whatnot, but for the most part, you're sitting at a computer. Luckily, the people that I worked with made me feel extremely welcome and comfortable, and I did overcome those initial insecurities pretty quickly. Or at least I thought I was. Like, I think maybe I just got better at masking them. I don't know. Man, but I was so mentally exhausted by this point. I just didn't even know. I was so tired and I didn't even understand why or what. Like, I just felt like I was living in a haze. And I kept telling myself, work harder, stay longer, do more, fill your schedule with more, do more, 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 more. And then I got pregnant. Life always throws you a curveball when you least expect it, let me tell you that. So that's when my mental health really started unfolding. Don, don, don. No, it was 2016. 2016, at this point, I was still faking it to make it. I had no idea what was, who was what, who I was inside out. I was just cruising along, doing what I thought was right, living very tensely and on edge. No idea what was going on. Without getting or too much into my pregnancy or labor, I just want to note that I didn't feel very educated and by my doctors about potential health concerns I was facing, and also nobody warned me or us millennial women, my generation really, in my opinion, about like the mental health concerns that happen after you have kids. Yeah, that was a whole new effing world too. And the questionnaires that are required at the pediatrician's office, they're a joke. And if there's any red flags, they're not going to catch them in those questions. So, yeah, that was a joke. Again, my opinion based on my experience. I could only take so much in holding this all in. So, when my first born was almost a year old, I started seeing a therapist regularly. And that turned out to be another fantastic decision, another life changing one. It helped me in so many different ways, but especially helped me prepare mentally for what was to come, which was another baby, because shortly after that, I got pregnant again. Such is life. Just when you feel like you're getting better, something else happens, but it's fine. The excitement of life, which truly was just anxiety, I think, propelled me to a new level. Like, I didn't even know what to do with myself. The energy levels were just out of this world. I just yeah, my emotions were up and down and all over the place, way more than they ever were before I had kids. So luckily, I had my therapist because she was able to support me through the next several years and help me build like true self love and self confidence from the inside. My therapist really helped me work through some deep issues that I had that I didn't even realize I had, honestly. And when the world shut down in 2020 for the COVID 19 virus, she helped me see the bigger picture even when I couldn't like open my eyes. Oh, they were hard days. And at that point, my emotions, good and bad, were just taking a toll on me, and things were going up and down really fast. Things were changing rapidly in the world and at work. People were getting laid off again. Departments were being restructured, and our work also felt directly impacted because we were working retail. We were in a retail industry. So 2020 was an interesting time. But working through those changes and adapting to work from home at that time did allow me more time to self reflect, which also caused some emotional turmoil within myself and some of my relationships. I didn't even realize what I was dealing with was panic and anxiety. It got to a point where my body was the panic in my body was making me physically ill, and all I could do was lay in bed, and my body had to purge in like whatever way it needed to. And at one point, I thought I was suffering a heart attack, and I asked my husband to take me to the ER because my body was just feeling completely tingly and numb, and it was fear of something that I couldn't even place like a finger on what it was exactly, but I don't think most people can. When you're dealing with panic and anxiety, you can't really explain what that fear is because it's not like a one thing that you're afraid of, really. It's like your body is afraid of like the world. I don't know how to describe it. It's just a really awful feeling. After I experienced after I had that intense experience where my husband had to take me to the ER, my therapist was able to help me understand what I had experienced, and she suggested some time off work for me to try additional treatment methods, because my mental health had become more unstable in a short time. This was around 2021. Because my therapist suggested, I had to have this conversation with my manager at work, and I was feeling very vulnerable, and I was really scared to admit that I was dealing with mental instability at such a fragile time in the world, and I didn't want to seem incapable of or irresponsible because I was requesting time off work to take care of my mental health. So a lot of negative feelings, like I associated a lot of negative feelings to admitting that I needed help. And I felt like a failure. Little did I know that this would be actually our turning point in our relationship. It would help pave the way for her to start her own healing journey too, which is a really neat piece in our relationship that I'll cherish forever. And guess what? Instead of seeing me as a failure, I was seen as brave and as strong for speaking up about what I needed to get better so that I could move forward and I could shift my focus to healing. Instead of the worst outcome, which is what my anxiety prepared me for, the exact opposite happened. I'm so grateful that my needs were heard and that I was given the opportunity to heal and not have their back turned on me. At this point, I took my leave of absence from work, and I found an EMDR therapist that I started seeing. The work I did with her was instrumental in my mental health healing, honestly. It turns out that, growing up and in my past and in general, I suppressed a lot of emotions that like they kept me from being able to break out of my shell. And my life was shaped by a series of traumatic and emotionally scarring events. I didn't even realize I was pushing all those feelings aside instead of actually dealing with them. So I did that for years until all those emotions started boiling over and bubbling out as panic attacks. EMDR stands for eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, and it involves moving your eyes in a specific way while you process traumatic memories. The goal of this therapy is to heal trauma and other distressing life experiences, and it was a really brutal treatment for me to get behind. I was initially very triggered by the questions, and I had a really difficult time breaking down the barriers to get to the root of the cause, why I felt the way I did. But I was dealing with decades of suppressed emotional trauma, and I had no idea how to navigate the world without being in a constant state of fight or flight. Once I could dig deep and answer the questions that made me feel uncomfortable, change started to happen. As I began processing my past, I started to get physically ill every month. It was like clockwork. My emotional, mental, physical health, they're all related. And when I'm healing one, the others are being healed too. It was as if my body was like literally purging all the trauma and negativity of my past so that it could make room like for who I needed to be. And I realized too that opening up with my manager and my friends was like the best thing ever for me. Being open about my shortcomings and my successes made me grow and like my confidence grew. And over time, talking positively enough about others and myself also really helped me build like on the love that I have for myself. So simply being myself and talking and opening up and just figuring out what I enjoy doing and doing those things, like action, actually being actionable on those things is helping me overcome fears and helping me overcome anxious situations. Now, I'm not saying that EMDR and therapy are like have helped me completely overcome all of my mental health instability. No, but it's a really big piece in my healing journey. Like changing our circumstances won't always make us happier or more fulfilled. You have to find happiness in yourself first, inside of you and who you are, to be able to truly feel happy about your circumstances that you're in. So something that I really feel important to note here is that I'm specifically relating like experiences, emotions, and topics to my own life and my work experiences and not anyone else's. Everyone's experiences and circumstances are different and may require, different treatment methods. I'm not a medical expert. I'm just sharing my point of view and my story here. A lesson that I've been learning through therapy and through Ulta this year, and that I hope will resonate with one of you at least, is to find joy in the little things. Find joy in your everyday and center your focus on others. Be others focused. When you start doing that enough, you are going to eventually exude true confidence and love and joy from the inside out. And when you're authentically kind and joyous and feel good about yourself and others, you can help others feel that joy too. I felt incredibly supported throughout my healing journey while working at Ulta and through the ups and downs in the last few years. I'm so grateful to have had the leadership that I do because they understand me and they've allowed me the space and time to work on myself and to grow professionally and personally. And since finding joy in my life again, I've loved helping others discover theirs through conversations and sharing experiences in real life and online. And if you haven't already noticed, one of my favorite things to do is connecting with others. And I would love to hear about your experiences surrounding mental health or any of the other topics that I mentioned today. I love having conversations in the comments. So if you leave one, I always respond. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your time today, and please subscribe and share if you like this video, and I will talk to you in the next one.